I'm Garrett Palm, and I haven't done everything there is to do yet, and I probably never will, and that's okay.
We are Indieknot Films. This is...
Haven't made it yet.
I'm Hayden.
I'm Sam.
Yannick's not with us tonight, but we got... It's okay. It's okay.
And it's okay.
Yeah, we can handle this.
Sometimes I'm not here. Sometimes
I'm not here.
And it's okay.
We're going to get by. But we have a great episode. We got
true.
a great lineup of one guest, like always. And let's bring him in.
All right, let's see.
Let's see who it is. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, there he is. He's coming in.
Look who it is.
Garrett, tell us what you do and how you got into what you're doing.
The first part is the harder one because I don't know what I do anymore. I don't know.
Then maybe let's just start from the beginning.
Okay.
What made you want to get into entertainment? I know you studied theater, right?
I did study theater. A theater major, and I moved to New York City to be on Broadway. I did musicals, and it turned out I wasn't very good.
Says who?
Yeah.
I mean, my theater teachers in college would be like, "You should do more comedy." Like when I try to do dramatic stuff. So college, we put together an improv troupe, and that kind of got me hooked. And when I was in New York, I was like, okay. So I when I was in New York, I started writing plays. I was writing plays before that, but I was like doing a little bit of playwriting, and then an ex was like, an off and on again ex was like, I'm going to this playwriting retreat. Do you want to come? And I was like, yeah. So I went up there to a Bard College up in the Hudson River and studied playwriting from some great playwrights for 2 weeks. I was like, what am I doing here? I went to a tiny college of 500 students.
Wow.
Nobody was there. But while I was there, a UCB duo was workshopping their show. And when I came back to New York, I was like, I should see that at UCB. And then I got hooked and started doing improv all the time. And from there, I kind of started producing for a stage show called Baby Wants Candy. First I started doing the tech at UCB. For 8 years, I did tech at UCB in New York. And so Baby Wants Candy, I traveled all over the world, put it on their show and producing it and meeting other producers and Edinburgh Fringe for 7 years, which was
sick.
Awesome.
That's really cool.
But yeah, so I did that for 7 years. And when I moved to LA, I was like, I've got all this stage producing experience, but I don't know anything about any of this other stuff. Anything to do with filming or, so I started PAing, and somebody would, I was PAing all over College Humor, Funny or Die, a bunch of different places. And then got on with Smosh for a bit. And then Smosh was the producer there was like, you seem more responsible than a PA. So they bumped me up to an AP. And then they had a brand deal come in that nobody there really wanted to do, but they wanted the money. And so the brand deal would shoot in Cairo. And I had just been between New York and LA and between New York and I moved back to Portland for a little bit. Between New York and Portland, I spent a year abroad. And I spent 3 months of that in Beirut. And then in Beirut, I kind of got out to Cairo, and this was during Arab Spring. So this is when Tahrir Square was I got a knife pulled on me there because I had a camera.
Oh my god!
So it was like, and like
this is through Smosh.
Well, so this was before Smosh.
Oh, okay.
So I was there when like there was no president. Like they had thrown out Mubarak, and like there's no president. It was lawless, and so I had that experience. And so when they got Ubisoft came to them and was like, hey, do you want to do an Assassin's Creed video series in Cairo? They were like, no. And they're like, here's $1 million. I'm like, okay. But they didn't think it was going to happen. So they bumped me. And I was like, I've been to Cairo. I was there during a lawless time. I know my way around.
You're like the pro.
my God.
They're like, he survived this
I
round.
survived.
Like, send him back out.
I can take care of them there.
Yeah.
I do want to come back to this, but isn't it wild being like a PA delivering like the right kind of coffees and then but having that experience? Like I don't think I have that experience. I have definitely different experiences that I think about in my head when I'm ordering a coffee for someone else.
Yeah.
But like it's just crazy. It's
Yeah,
just
'cause
crazy.
there's so many PAs that like they're just out of, like film school. And I'm like, go take a second and
Yeah.
like have some experiences first.
Uh-huh.
You can PA at any point.
Yeah, get a knife pulled on you.
Yeah.
At least one.
At least one from a kid.
Right.
Yeah, it's just like you can. It was like it was weird because I'd been a producer and I'd done all these crazy, I'd been a photographer for like I produced while I was in Beirut. I went to Timbuktu. Well, no, first I went to Timbuktu and like helped produce a stage show in the Sahara Desert with
Whoa.
Al Qaeda all around. We had to like sneak up by boat to produce this music festival. And then the day after we left, Al Qaeda invaded.
God.
And then like a year, like a few years later, I was like, what do you want from Chipotle? Did you just want your usual order?
Oh my God, the perspective that you
Yeah.
must have. Like, I can do this.
You know what?
Yeah.
The Chipotle order must be so much easier if Al Qaeda was your other option.
Yeah.
But like,
The threat of Al Qaeda.
yeah,
I think the missing guac in an order
I know.
is okay.
It really puts everything in perspective. It really does. Like, I mean,
it's definitely throwing me back to my PA days. I'm like, I'm really worried about returning a truck. Escaping a terrorist group would really, really bring me back down to center, you know?
Essentially.
I suggest everybody go sneak into Al Qaeda territory at one time.
A question I have is kind of a little hot take for me, but I don't think that an organization like Smosh can come out today with digital media. Do you disagree? Do you agree? Or and how has this digital media changed in the last 10 to 20 years in its development?
What do you mean by today?
Today,
Like how recent are we talking?
so I grew up on YouTube,
Right.
and I loved Smosh. Boxman was my thing, and I grew into Rhett and Link Lindsay Ellis, a video essayist, and there's just this community. And Lindsay even says in one of her videos that she's like, there's no chance that someone can do what I did to get to where I am today and be able to get to where I am. There's 100% no chance. So that's kind of where I'm talking more in the line of, I agree with that, where it's like with, there wasn't really an algorithm. There was keywords and viral that they were following. But it seems to be that the viralness has changed into the algorithm, what you touched on with how like tech bros are now deciding what the keyword is.
Yeah. I guess my counter to that is Dropout.
Okay.
Like they are huge now. and they are relatively new. I'd have to check the timeline. They came out of College Humor.
I think that, so, okay, fun fact about me.
Connection.
One of my first jobs in LA was being, I think I was their College Humor's last formal intern.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so my first job out of LA was being one of their last PAs as well, after being an intern. So I was kind of there during the demise of College Humor. They were kind of simmering for a bit, but like Game Changers, D20. When I was an intern, they were still, Sam was still kind of like figuring it out. They were in like the first few years of like trying to really make Dropout a thing. Yeah. So I was there every person.
Then we should talk offline about who we know. But
no, so I was like there every person there and like watching that. So I want to say that's probably around when I graduated college, which was probably around 2019, 2020, I feel like is when, because now, I mean, D20, they're like selling out Madison Square Garden, which I was like crazy.
Brennan can't even walk the streets.
Which is insane because one of my first, I think about it all the time. I was like, one of my tasks as a PA was to get a sword as a prop for a sketch in like in his apartment. And I was just being like, it's insane. Now they're like selling out. I'm like, I mean, to say, very cool to watch. So just seeing the beginnings of that was very fascinating, and then just kind of being pulled away from it for a while. Yeah. And just, as they've grown, and I'm assuming it's a very similar style of way that they function in their shows. I mean, again, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong because it's been a while, but like,
the thing that they do now that is, I think, so helpful for them is that they're not tied to the algorithm. Yeah. They have their own platform.
They're still subscription based, right?
Yeah, $5, right? I think maybe it went up to $6, but it's like
pretty, and that's what, like, I mean, Corridor Crew 2 and stuff, people in that realm, it seems like they're going more for the Patreon-esque of the creation more than the algorithm getting paid through YouTube and ads.
Patreon really seems like, and from what I've heard is like Patreon, the founder of it, like that is their goal, is to help people get paid, like help artists get paid. I'm sure there's still an evil underside to every company, but
everybody needs a buck.
Everybody needs a buck, but like, it sounds like their, like intention is there to like actually make a place where people can make money doing their art. I struggle with entrepreneurialism. It's something that I wish I could cultivate in myself more, but it's also something that I'm so against for some reason. And because when I see it in YouTube content, it is about making money. It's about, chasing the algorithm. It's about like, just like.
So when you say like entrepreneurial,
I know I can never say it. I can never say it.
But like for yourself, do you mean just like creating content for yourself just to put online just because it's something that you want to create and enjoy? Is that what you mean?
Or just start a company. My friends and I have talked about companies we would start and then I have more entrepreneurial minded friends who go out and do it. And they do it, well, and but I also look at the people doing it not well, who are doing it just to, and I think this is also in the Bay Area too. It's like with tech, big tech, people just making apps to make money, not to make, an app that's needed. And that's an aside. So
a lot of
think
things I could say about that, but I'm trying not to offend prior exes who are definitely not going to be listening to this.
I was going to say, your ex is listening?
I was like, wow, our followership strong.
But to not put any names, it was someone with coming out of a business degree, and their big thing was they'll make an app to make money.
Yep.
And it's like the app isn't necessarily meant to be helpful. It's just to be a revenue for themselves.
And I think a lot of people are starting YouTube channels with that same mentality.
not us. We're not making any
where's
money.
this go? Okay, good. You're not making money, right?
We're not making
No,
money.
we're
Okay,
not.
good.
So
No,
now we're fine.
We're fine.
We're
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. Another, like, I don't know if it's a hot take, but like, you have to just enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
You know, like the people that I know that don't give up, that don't go crazy here, are people that are like, you know, like enjoying the life before they're famous, you know, if they do get famous or successful, who are like enjoying it. And like, if you don't have that, if you don't learn to do that, it's going to twist you up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how we get into the Disney childhood Disney star situation.
Yeah.
But then also again, but I just am like authenticity, right? Like I feel like that's the spice of like virality. That's the spice of like content, like or reality TV, and like that's what you love about those kind of characters. It's just like you want authenticity, but it's like you can't teach that. Everyone's trying to chase that authentic humanity, like feeling.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you don't even know what you want that. Like,
And authenticity is fake.
yeah.
You know, there's
And
there's no
too.
such thing as authenticity. You know, if you're on screen and being authentic, like you'd be saying like, please like me.
Yeah.
Please like
Right.
me. I need a paycheck.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know,
I got to be on my next job.
yeah, you could be natural, but like, I don't know, authentic. And plus we're changing constantly. And like, I do think like, you know, like these big YouTubers were authentic at the start, but they changed, but the audience doesn't want them to change. They want,
Yeah.
you know,
That's
you
true.
don't want Kramer to suddenly stop being wild.
Yeah.
You want Kramer to keep barging in with some new weird idea. If you ever
Hey, Kramer
figures out-
goes to therapy.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no.
Oh no, please don't.
Yeah.
But it's
no,
like
so true.
you expect these YouTubers who are being themselves to like you know, like be Kramer the whole time, their
Yeah.
whole lives, and like they're not. You know, they're changing. Everybody changes. Everybody grows, and you know, it's hard for viewers to accept that with reality stars.
And since it's a lot about YouTube right now, I get to finally get to talk about my YouTube people. But I mean, I was an all-time fan of Jenna Marbles for a while, and
same.
it was heartbreaking for me having her leave. Being like the kind of a piece that I was. It
She
wasn't.
grew up with us, you know, in a
Yeah.
way. You know, I mean, the parasocial relationships.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And but like in your in what you're talking about, like she only really needed to leave because she couldn't be the people that the viewership wanted her to be.
Yeah.
She was being herself.
Yeah.
And that's why we watched her, because she was being
Yeah.
herself. And once she thought that she had to change due to this, that's when she thought that she had to go, which is even more like admirable of her to do so. But like, yeah, it was tough, but I really appreciate that that's what she did, because like you don't know a lot of people in her situation would change in order to make that paycheck happen.
Yep. And then 10 years later, they'd be a shell of themselves.
Yeah. And just asking themselves how they got there.
Yeah.
No, it's the same. And then goes into celebrityism of, I mean, with this show, haven't made it yet. Like we talk about the process of getting to be the person you want to be, or do the thing that you've always wanted to do. And why I like our name of the show is it's a play on words. But it's also like we're talking about the process of the journey. Like it's not about the Brad Pitts in the world that have it, even though we could talk to Brad, if you're available, we'll talk to you. But it's like, everybody, it's respecting the process making it and understanding that this is just as valuable, being in the state of constantly trying to make things and make whatever you want your career to be happen. Like that's the beautiful part of it. And what happens when, the dog catches up to the mailman?
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
And hopefully there's a new mailman.
Yeah.
That's how I see things. I just try to keep on catching the next mailman. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fully agree. I mean, how do you survive, right? I guess some of this is like, you do this because to your point, I think that really resonated with me. It's just, you have to enjoy being here. I think everyone in this industry is crazy, including myself.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, why did I stay here for so long?
Yeah.
Like, I have friends every day that are frankly leaving the industry just because they felt like they needed to reach a certain benchmark in their life, and they felt, and they just haven't, or maybe, whatever that benchmark was. And people I never thought would have since left. And it's
totally valid.
And it's totally valid. Nothing but respect. And like, even I was complaining earlier about being like, why are we not paid better than other industries? Like, of course I've thought about it, but it's like, I would never act on it. I just like, you just love it to just experience it and just to be a part of it a little bit in a weird, cheesy way. But it is, you have to be crazy to be.
Yeah.
Well, I bring up the interest in travel producing because we have a short film, Pisano Overhang, climbing project, and we're in the process of pitching that short into a feature where it's going to be 5 places around the U.S. and different climbing jobs, and it's going to be a exploration of like what's the opposite of toxic? Not talking about masculinity, but
It's just
like a healthy relationship.
like a healthy relationship with your masculinity is kind of our process of discussion through,
I like that.
Through these extreme sports and whatnot. Like I think of it as Aragorn from Lord of the Rings, because like he is my, like, whenever I need help, like I always reference Aragorn of what would Aragorn do, and that's what I would do.
We watched Lord of the Rings like once a year because they're like our they're pretty much like our Bible.
But
and Aragorn is a big one for me.
So we'll probably get in touch to see if
watch Lord of the Rings.
To watch Lord of the Rings and see if you're interested in help in doing that. But also with travel, you have these podcasts, Agents of Travel, as well as the Eat It or Yeet It.
Yeah, so Eat It or Yeet It was a show that I did for Smosh. For 89 episodes, where I fed people food, then they didn't know if it would be good or bad until they took a bite.
And then, so with that knowledge of podcasting, you've made now Agents of Travel.
Well, Eat It or Yeet It was like a show.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that was like a full-on YouTube show.
See, I'm the tech guy. See, that's my tech guy coming out. The setup looks great. This is me. Don't ask me any questions about what's going on.
But I did produce some of the podcasts at Smosh for stretches. But
what got you into the podcast world? Like, I mean, you're now in doing this Agents of Travel. Is it just like a?
Well, you did season 1. Did you take a break and now you're getting back to it?
Yeah, we're on season 4 right now.
Okay,
releasing season 4 right now, and recording partly. But really, what got me into podcasting was I want my name to be associated with travel more. And I love talking to people about travel. Let's do a travel podcast. We play secret travel agents.
I love that.
Working for the National Travel and Tourism Office. I always forget. I'm probably reverse the
changes every episode.
It's a real office, but we don't actually work for them. And we interrogate people on their previous trips, and then at the end, we both take a second and kind of come up with what we think this person's dream trip would be. And then we each separately pitch them on a dream trip, and then they have to choose who did a better job.
And I love that. I just love, I mean, and you know, you're talking with all kinds of people, usually comedians in some regard.
Yeah.
The couple episodes I listened to are very funny. And I listened, I forgot her name, but it was because I was just about to go to Japan.
Was it Anne?
It was a recent episode.
Did she grow? Was she born in Japan?
Yes,
yeah, Anne Maddox. Yeah, Tom Sandoval's assistant.
Oh wow!
From
that must have been insane as a job.
she's
but yeah, I just loved how that you pitched it. There was a lot of improv involved into it. That was cool that you kind of were able to shoot both of the worlds that you like together. The question I do have for any prior, how many guests, do you know how many guests have gone to trips that you've recommended?
So we've had one confirmed so far, and she says it wasn't solely because of us.
Oh yeah.
But
okay.
I know, but we were the first ones to suggest this trip. Rekha Shankar from D20 and like a bunch of other she went to Vietnam, which we pitched to her, and she did a lot of the things that we pitched. She did a lot of her own things as well, but so we had her back on for a trip report. But yeah, that was like our favorite like moment that like, oh, somebody actually went on one of our trips. And then we have actually gone on 2 of our trips that we've pitched.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah, like we pitched it to somebody and we were like, actually, we
love that.
Do this. Yeah,
let's do that. I only ask because we have, you'll get this question coming up soon, but we have our question of like, where do you want to be in 10 years? Like our common joke is that we will have our next podcast in 10 years is called Made It. And we interview every single guest that we had prior. And then, we replay the message that like
my
audio
dream is
link.
one giant party, everyone's there, and we just
would go around and
next.
Go in. But it's in the similar regard of like always wanting to see what actually happens from it if people do it. But like regardless, it's nice that you have this mixture of like you find out what their best trip is through their personality and what they like and what their experiences are. And that's how you two navigate the final decision of where they should go. So it's just like this too, of getting to know this person. But I like that you have that twist of like then you have to pitch them on something. I feel like we need a pitch of some kind of like
I'll tell
like
you, it's a lot of work. It's hard.
I mean, you go into a lot of detail of like the whole travel itinerary. And then you have to fight. You two fight over like whose is better, which is also just great. But yeah.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that's
thank
in
you for
this.
talking it up. Yeah.
But yeah, I guess those. Do you have any other questions you're thinking of, or get into our common 2?
I feel like we've covered a lot of bases here.
There's so much.
I mean, there's
more.
always honestly, I could talk for another hour, but
But let's,
same here. I can always.
But yeah,
so you gotta cut me off at some point.
Let's start with in 10 years. So in 10 years time, where do you want to be? Where do you want to see yourself?
This one was so hard. I mean, both of these questions were very hard for me. But I mean, honestly, like I love my life right now.
Yeah.
And like I would love to, because I often think like, oh, the job that I want is one that I can't even like envision right now. It's like I talked to somebody once long ago who was like, yeah, I didn't even know this was a job. I just did all the things I loved, and then it turned into it. Somebody was like, oh, actually we need all of that, and like that's a job. And like so that's whatever that is, that's what it is, what I want where I see myself in 10 years. But also like, my partner and I talk about this where we're just like, yeah, like the country, the industry is, like kind of in a rough spot. But we're just like so happy in our day to day. Like life is pretty good if like a part of it is we're lucky, but like, I'm broke, but like I have a good life.
Yeah.
So
But you can make content anywhere.
yeah,
Hollywood's
yeah,
dead.
Exactly.
It's dead. Okay, so now we're in this giant party. I'm about to press
Okay.
play.
Oh my God.
I'm about to press play on my phone over the speakers.
Yeah.
Like,
I know
all right,
everybody else is going to hear this.
Okay, we can make it a solo venture if you want. But
Okay,
we're like,
because I don't
Garrett-
want anybody to hear
okay,
that.
totally. We're like, Garrett, it's your time. We're gonna bring you back to this garage 10 years from now. We're about to press play on this message to yourself. What do you got to say
For
yourself? Yeah.
For in 10 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just to have that job that I didn't realize was a job.
Is this what you're gonna tell yourself?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, hopefully in 10 years, you'll be working a job that you didn't even realize was a thing. And it's going to be, it's going to be doing cool stuff.
Yeah. I guess this is a question I'll have to steal from Yannick, our host that couldn't make it. Rest in peace. Rest in peace, Yannick. But I love this question of what are anxieties that you have today? And like kind of using this as a time capsule. Like what are you worried about in work and your career? From it could be the simplest thing.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't know if it's simple. This is probably a bigger thing, but like aging, like as I'm getting older, like people are less willing to take chances and like are like less willing to, if I want to shift careers, which I've been trying to do a little bit, like trying to pivot to somewhere else. It's like there's a lot of people just out of college, a lot of people who are younger and willing to do what it takes, and a 45-year-old is not necessarily going to be doing that. And to get good at something, I think takes time. And so like improv, for example, takes 10 years at least to be good at it. And so it's like, I mean, part of it is like, in 10 years, I might as well be good at it rather than still worrying about it. But that's my main anxiety is just getting older. But I think that's that's a general life anxiety too.
That's going to be tough to play back in 10 years.
I know. Be like, oh no.
But we're enjoying the ride, right? We're really enjoying the experience, the ride. We're still in it.
It's already 10 years longer. Oh.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Garrett, so much for all your wise wisdom. In our outro world, I feel like we missed like some of our big questions with digital stuff. What? I feel like there was a good one, but
thank you.
there's a lot of good ones. Sorry, just the questions. There was one good one in here. I have to find it. Where's my glasses?
If you find it, I'll record it at home. And
as an outro question of I guess your next travel opportunity. Where do you want to be? Next.
Traveling. We had kind of have like two thoughts. One is Vietnam, South Korea, and then Rachel's never been to Thailand, and then I really want to go to Myanmar. So
wait, where's Myanmar?
Burma, or like former Burma, like right next to Thailand. It's got the land of I think 1,000 temples. It's this
That's the
the stupas.
where it almost looks like like Yavin 4.
Yeah.
It's
It looks
all
like it's
those
on Star Wars. Yeah.
That's how I relate everything. If it's not Star Wars, it's not interesting.
Yeah, it's not Star Wars or Aragorn.
You gotta impress me.
Yeah.
But no, I really want to go.
It looks incredible.
This is Haven't Made It Yet, an Indieknot production, hosted by Sam Hong and Hayden Garrett. Music by Harrison Garrett. We've got a newsletter. Keep up to date on all the fun stuff that we're up to. The link is in the description. If you have any feedback, any questions, topics you want us to cover, email us at indieknotfilms@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. And if you want to help us out, please rate and review from wherever you're listening. Thanks.